The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WZWA Network, and welcome to our review show here of AEW Double or Nothing from the T-Mobile Arena in Paradise, Nevada on May 28, 2023. I'm one of your hosts, Karlifornia. This is Jooseyboy. How are you, bro?
Dude, I'm fantastic. This pay-per-view was not. Let's just say that. And as you would say, let's hop to it.
Yeah, bro. It's there were some like good things here and there, but for the most part, I just left shaking my head. And look, I'm sure me and you saying that at the outset of the review, any AEW fans watching along now might have already clicked off. But if you're still watching, please watch the whole thing. And if you disagree with anything we have to say, you can put it in the comments so we can have a nice little debate about it. You know, nothing like having a different opinion.
Yeah, like in all seriousness, although my opinion of this show is not great, I am going to give credit where credit is due in a number of places where there were things that I enjoyed.
And I will do the same. But anyway, bro, I've from what I gather, you did not watch the buy-in, which I don't blame you. Okay, it's fine. No. But I did. There are only two matches on it, and there was a segment on there that I think is important for me to bring up. So the buy-in, it starts off with Renee Paquette, some guy called Kazmine. I don't know who he was. Paul White, the Big Show, and Stokely Hathaway. So this panel of four people are just like standing with microphones, not at a table like you do at WWE. But as far as I'm concerned, they should learn from WWE, because this was 27 minutes of shit and them doing what they do on the WWE panel where they talk about these fake storylines and things. It's just, to me, it's just like unnecessary. You don't need to do it. I know I complain about how many matches they put on these things, and, you know, maybe that makes me a hypocrite by saying that they should put a match on instead, but I just think it's a waste of time. You know, if it's going to be like this, then make the buy-in 30 minutes long. Don't make it an hour.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add an addendum onto what you just said there and say the overall running time of this pay-per-view, not including the buy-in, was 3 hours and 38 minutes.
So in total, 4 hours and 38 minutes. No wonder I was up so early in the morning trying to finish off watching this before finally passing out. But yeah, look, Renee Paquette at one stage was reading off a piece of paper, like about, you know, some sort of sponsor that they had for the show. And I just thought to myself, that looks so Bush League. They never do that. But maybe it's because she was holding a piece of paper, whereas when they're at a panel and at a table, it's right in front of them, so you don't really think of it like that. But it came across a little Bush League. So I skipped the whole thing. I didn't care. I just thought, you know, you have someone like Miro sitting at home and you've just wasted 27 minutes, you know, on your buy-in.
Like, why couldn't you have Miro? I'm sorry to cut it. Johnny sidebar here again. Why couldn't you have Miro cut a little promo about Collision? Maybe then you might sell a couple of extra fucking tickets to one of those shows.
Yeah, talk about he's been on the shelf for a while, not his fault, and then he's coming to someone gonna get hurt real bad, you know. But anyway, first matchup on the buy-in was the Gunn Club teaming with Ethan Page against the Hardys and Hook in a 6-man that went 15 minutes and 10 seconds. Look, I liked Ethan and the Gunn's entrance. I'm a fan of all three of those guys, to be honest with you. Hook makes his entrance, and guess what? He's 30-0. FTW champion, 30-0. If somebody has a record like that, give him a proper opponent. I think it's a waste of time. You know, how long's it been? It's like it's been a year and a half, and he's still only 30-0. But he hasn't had any formidable opponents, and he's still green as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I thought Jeff looked in great shape, but you could tell, Hook is he's still great, and he's tiny, man. Like, they make him out to be this killer. Oh, dear. But yeah, look, this storyline, whoever, if Ethan Page loses this match, then the Hardys own his contract. They've been doing this thing with the contracts with Private Party and the Hardy family office and the Andrade family office and Stokely Hathaway and the firm. They've been doing this contract storyline, owning people's contracts for like, I think they were doing this shit when we were reviewing the weekly show, bro. When Matt Hardy had Private Party's contract. It's like, fuck, like do something else with him. It's been 2 years.
Yeah, you know what? Why is it with AEW that some things flicker out like a candle in the wind? They're gone all too soon. As soon as they start doing something good, next week it's gone. You never hear about it again.
Yeah.
But then there are some things that have been going on for 3 fucking years of the 4 years that AEW has existed for. Move on. Move on. Everyone's over it. They were over it a long time ago, and it's so far beyond that now. It's ridiculous. I'm glad that Jeff's in great shape. You know, I didn't see the match, but for fuck's sake.
Matt was working good as well on this match, I thought. He had some great side effects. There was a spot at ringside where they went after Brother Zay, whoever that is, which was like a cutoff for the babyface that was really forced. But look, I'm big on the Guns. I'd love to see them versus the Hardys. They're very athletic, just like their dad. And the thing about the Guns is they have improved so much because they wrestled every week on Dark and Elevation. Jade Cargill wrestles once every few weeks. The improvement comes from reps. I was really loving JR on commentary through this.
Yeah.
But you could tell Jeff Hardy was a little bit rusty because, you know, timing is everything. And if you haven't got your timing back, then things are a little bit disjointed. And I think maybe he needs to reinvent his offense because a lot of his offense is relying on doing things like the fucking whisper in the wind and things of that nature. And maybe it's just not something he should be, you know, hanging his hat on anymore. But
yeah.
Anywho, look, I'll get through this. There was a great part where Jeff's hit a swanton on both the Guns and Ethan Page to break up a pin. But it looked like it, I don't know, Jeff looked like he was really struggling a little bit. But anyway, there's a double twist of fate, and then Hook chokes out Ethan Page, who taps out instead of getting choked out. So it's a nice, cute little finish there and foregone conclusion. Coming up next, Martha Hart is introduced by Renee Paquette. I still feel a little bit weird about all this. And of course, Toni has to get name dropped. And Martha was talking about like some of the merchandise that's coming out for this Owen Hart tournament, right? And she was talking about how we're going to be releasing a gangster hat. And who comes out to model that gangster hat? Jooseyboy, guess who? Tony Khan.
I've seen the photos, yeah.
Stay backstage. Stay backstage.
The owner of the fucking company, you dipshit.
And all the fans probably think it's really cute and funny. Oh, Tony's so funny. It's like, no, I think he fucking loves himself, man. And you know what? Props to Martha, because she's not a TV person, but she spoke very well to the audience. Okay. So the end of, actually, there was only one match on the buy-in because the last portion of it was almost everyone's entrance for this AEW International Championship Battle Royal, which starts off the pay-per-view. It goes 22 minutes and 25 seconds. And it features best friends, Josh Woods, Tony Nese, Ari Daivari, Lee Moriarty, Big Bill, Commander, Butcher and the Blade, Kip Sabian, Juice Robinson, Jay White, Dustin Rhodes, Heath Lee, Ricky Starks, Bandito, Lucha Brothers, Swerve Strickland, Brian Cage, Oren Cassidy. There might have been one or two other people that I did not mention there, but that's pretty much everyone. Jooseyboy, I know you're probably chomping at the bit there. What do you have to say about the Battle Royal?
Okay. First of all, it wasn't just any old ordinary Battle Royal. You see, a entrant into this Battle Royal was not considered to be actively entered into the match until they entered the ring itself. Okay? which JR pointed out on commentary several times. This is a championship match. All the heels did what was logical, and they just casually waited on the outside of the ring. And you know what? I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So you have that stupid rule in place. But the broadcast for the main pay-per-view opened up with no entrances. You basically had Orange Cassidy enter, and everyone else was already just out there. And you didn't even know that it was meant to be a battle royal, because half of the people involved were on the outside as if it was some kind of fucking lumberjack match. And then pretty much less than 20 seconds after the broadcast goes onto the air for the main show, because I didn't see the pre-show, they've already started throwing people out. JR doesn't know what the fucking rules are. Excalibur's having to explain to people, oh, no, you're not officially in until, like, you get in the ring and stuff like that. Commander is jumping up on the top rope and doing a massive dive onto Big Bill and somebody else. Commander and the two people that he dived on were still legal and active in the match after that point in time, because Big Bill and the other victim of the dive hadn't entered the ring yet and therefore weren't legally in the match yet when they were dived on. And Commander wasn't eliminated despite diving out of the ring and landing straight on two guys on the floor because no one tossed him out.
So I think he actually hadn't actually got in the ring yet. So it's the technicality, but fuck
Instead
off.
of getting into the ring, he went straight from one rope and walked to the top rope and did a dive. So that's how they explain that. This continues to be complete total shit for most of it. It was absolutely absurd. There was too much going on. At one point, the camera panned over and in the mayhem, and I saw that Dustin Runnels, in the final year of his career, when he's approaching milestones in his sobriety, his battle with his demons, and his fight to stay healthy, is in this fucking match. That's how they're using Dustin Runnels. And he was sitting in the corner because none of the people in this fucking match have any idea how to work on a pay-per-view level show, let alone doing a battle royal within Same. Because they're all stepping all over each other. They're doing high spots. They're not leaving enough room for spots to take place. They're doing things that take away attention from other spots that are already in mid progress, because they're all just wandering around and thinking, oh, hey, what can I do? And then there's people like Dustin who actually know what the fuck they're doing, that are crouched down in the corner because they know that they're going to end up getting a fucking broken ankle or some shit if they fuck around. Dustin didn't start doing anything until later on. And ironically, he was responsible for one of the only good things in the match, because his elimination fucking got some good heat. I think it was Big Bill that knocked him off the apron.
Yeah.
And it got some good heat for Big Bill, which, guess what? They later threw away when they had Big Bill just be tossed out, randomly. That's all I'm going to say about this match, because otherwise we could spend a whole hour just talking about this match. But my rating for this match is an F. It was absolutely atrocious. It was a waste of my time. The idea that people paid full price to see this event is an embarrassment. And the fact that Dustin Rhodes was in this match is an embarrassment. And just because there was a nice sequence at the end, I haven't forgotten about it, with Orange Cassidy and I can't even remember now who the second guy was. Swerve. That was a great sequence between those two. Wow, how great would it have been if we had just gotten a singles match between them right from the beginning, hey? Instead of all this bullshit. Because I saw a lot of people online saying, oh, but that ending sequence is being overshadowed because the Battle Royal itself was a bit messy. No. The Battle Royal itself was the match, and it wasn't good.
Yeah. So as I was watching this, I was talking to our boss here of the network, Luke Monet. And within, I think, the first 6 minutes, I already had 17 notes or something like that. I'd spent so much, I had to keep rewinding because I was spending so much time typing down things that were pissing me off. I knew I wasn't going to give a fuck about this. These matches are put together to get everyone on the pay-per-view. They always do like a battle royal or a casino royale on the pay-per-views. I was hoping Big Bill was going to get a shine here, and you know what? I think he did get a bit of a shine, despite the fact he got eliminated. Because here's the thing, he was in the hunt in Impact Wrestling, going for that world championship, but in AEW, he's in a tag team nobody could care about. I thought to myself, how is Jay White in the Battle Royal and not against Ricky Starks in the pay-per-view? He was the man from NJPW, the game changer, and he's in the Battle Royal here. Yes, I understand they're continuing the story with the two of them, blah, 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 but come on, man. He's been there a little while now. He probably should have already been in, a proper match here on the pay-per-view. Keith Lee, when he said, oh, poor Walter, because his name was changed to Gunter. Yeah, big boy, you're in a battle royal and Gunter's IC champ about to break the record. So good for you. Here's another thing that really annoys me. The Lucha Brothers should be strictly Ring of Honor. They're the tag team champions. Brian Cage is Ring of Honor now. He should just be in Ring of Honor. You can't keep mixing the fucking rosters, which lessens the whole point of paying for Ring of Honor. You got to separate them. You can't keep mixing it like this. It's been going on since Ring of Honor's properly had their new TV show. You can't keep mixing the rosters because it doesn't mean
Brian
anything.
Cage did get a sick elimination, though. It was boss.
He did, and I'm happy to see Brian Cage in the pay-per-view here for sure. But I just think if he's Ring of Honor, then he should be Ring of Honor. If Lucha Brothers are the tag champions, then they should just be there. I don't know why you still have to have Ring of Honor matches and Ring of Honor title matches on Dynamite. You've got your show now. Like, why would I pay for it if I can see them on AEW for free? Why would I pay for it?
Yeah,
anyway,
that's such a good point.
All right. All the fuckwits staying at ringside, waiting for a dive we've seen a million times from Commander. Like, it's already old for me. First time I saw it, that's pretty cool. It's a good dive. He does it every match. It doesn't mean anything if you do it every single time. But they didn't have everyone get into the Battle Royal straight away because they had a spot planned. Beretta did a moonsault to somebody onto the outside and it wasn't caught on the feed properly. The first 3 minutes I've been typing constantly.
Oh man, I hope you mention a certain thing, and if you don't, I'll circle back to it at the end. Go ahead.
I think everybody should have to enter the ring before a match like this starts. You can't just wait there. Otherwise, you just wait till there's one person left. So why the fuck would Brian Cage decide to just enter the match and Swerve, who he was with, decided to stick around outside? Why don't they both just either stay together till the end, or why don't they both go together? Why would you go in there by yourself when you got your buddy here that can back you up? So irritating. Nothing against Brian Cage. I like him. I'm a big fan of him. But I just think whoever told him to do that, that's fucking stupid. And there's all that fake choreographed bullshit with the stalling suplex in the middle of the ring. Why would you do a pile driver on the ring apron for a match where you have to be thrown over the top rope? My favorite part of the match, Commander is running along ropes to do that shooting star he does onto someone inside the ring, and Jay White just fucking shoves him off and eliminates him. I was like, good, fuck you. I'm so glad that he fucking eliminated him, because I was like, get fucked. Why would you do that in a match where it's a battle royal? It's like having a ladder match, but not trying to climb a ladder to retrieve the item. Anyway, I'll try and skim through this a little bit. Ray Phoenix completely missed a super kick on the Butcher on the ring who got eliminated. Too many super kicks. And I was just like, man, somebody please save me and eliminate the Lucha Brothers already. I fucking had enough. Had a gutful.
Yeah.
I did like Brian Cage eliminating Keith Lee. That was cool. But I thought if Orange Cassidy wins this, it's pointless. Nobody has really tried to eliminate him or at least get rid of the champion. I just think Big Bill's made a mistake going to AEW, man, because like he's got so much potential, so much upside, and they have him be a killer all this time, and then just like that, he gets thrown out. So
I'd send him to NXT.
I would too. Look, it was a crazy flurry between Orange and Swerve, and I just didn't care because I knew Orange was going to win. And they do the thing where Swerve puts Orange's hands in his pockets, and it's just like, get over it already, man. I'm not trying to be negative for negative's sake, but this whole thing is just a whole bunch of annoying shit. And yeah, that was the finish. A waste of time. Let's move forward, Juicy Boy. The no sanctioned fight between Chris Jericho with the Jericho Appreciation Society against Adam Cole with Roderick Strong and special guest enforcer Sabu, which went 17 minutes. Sabu, special guest enforcer. It makes no sense. But Excalibur mentions the one house show he and Jericho had in 1996. Who cares? That's not a history. That's one match that they had at a fucking house show.
In a different company, in completely different periods in their careers, when everybody else involved in the situation was still a small child. It's completely asinine as far as the issue that they're trying to just continue. Sorry.
I think that's 27 years ago, by the way. 27 years ago that match happened. Fuck off. You can't try and make something out of nothing like that. You book Sabu just to try and get a few more buys. Let's be honest. And anyway, so Sabu's the enforcer. He's dueling chairs with Jericho in the ring. He jumps off the top rope to the outside, puts someone through a table, which was amazing. But then he's gone. He's a special guest enforcer, and he's already been taken out. Everyone goes away. The smoke clears, and it's Jericho and Adam Cole. And I'm like, why was he special guest? Why not just have him be at ringside? Why announce him as special guest enforcer if he didn't do any enforcing? So Adam Cole did attempt a Panama Sunrise. She got reversed into a lion tail. I can't be bothered, bro. It was nice. Nice reversal. I did laugh at Taz saying about the fire extinguisher that Adam Cole grabbed whilst he was in the walls of Jericho. Taz said, "That's a big-ass fire extinguisher." And JR said, "You goddamn right, it's Andre's." And Taz yeah. So, you know, we at least have Taz and JR to keep us cheered up. But I could tell with this match that they've got the non-sanctioned match here. They're going to do too much, and it's going to burn the crowd out. And like it happened, you know, a few pay-per-views ago, they were doing too many fucking crazy fucking things, one match after another, and it was just hurting the show, to be perfectly honest, because you're burning out the fucking show. I did laugh at Taz coughing from the fire extinguisher when he's like so far away from it. Saraya comes out. She gets clocked by Britt Baker, who's obviously who's made an interference here after what happened to her. Okay, story, but I think like how many fucking matches on the show had interference? So it turned into a chain match, but the chain was way too long. He hit a Panama Sunrise in Jericho and barely got him. I think Jericho should have won, to be honest. But I think the first match shouldn't have been no DQ. Like, why do you need an enforcer in a no DQ match as well? Chain around the knee, back of the head. I thought that should be the finish. But then the match gets stopped because Cole just kept on hitting Jericho. And I thought, what a horrible finish. The crowd did not like it at all. This isn't UFC. It should have been something else. But yeah, Sabu wasn't seen again after that one spot, which was funny. Juicy Boy, what did you think?
Yeah, well, this sucked. It was bad. I'd be remiss if I didn't point out for anyone that hasn't already noticed it that, you know, WWE had a Hell in a Cell match end by a ref stoppage, despite the fact that there are supposed to be no rules and stuff like that. AEW has essentially done the same thing here. The match is unsanctioned. How can the referee call a stoppage to an unsanctioned match? The rules of the match would be pinfall, submission, or quitting, or a knockout, not a technical knockout, which is a stoppage. It's illogical. But that's just the finish of the match. This entire thing was lukewarm. It felt like it had no heat on it. It was embarrassing to see kind of Jericho plotting around with Sabu like and they're smacking these chairs at each other and stuff. This is at the beginning. And I'm thinking to myself, this is every bit as bad as, like, you know, fucking TNA when they kept on bringing the ECW guys out and trotting them out to try to pop numbers, you know. But I bet nobody's going to point that out. And yeah, I enjoyed the fact that Sabu put the guy through a table just for nostalgia purposes, but he didn't put him through the way that Sabu puts people through tables. He didn't dive onto him. He just let himself fall onto him, and, you know, and it's just, I felt the same way about Sabu being like, JR wasn't even sure like what Sabu's role in the match was, and it's not because JR's getting old. It's because the graphic showed Sabu as being in the middle of the combatants, not to one corner. And then when he was in there, you know, at the beginning, it wasn't really set up that Sabu would essentially have any real side in it, anything to gain from either side winning, despite what he did the previous week on Dynamite. So none of that made sense. It was illogical, but the match itself was bad too. And I'm not trying to crap on Adam Cole, and I'm not even trying to crap on the fact that Jericho's older and stuff, because I don't expect an older wrestler like Jericho to wrestle the way Jericho might have done so in 2005 to 2010, for example. But even by those standards, he didn't even use his in-ring IQ to compensate. He's still trying to have the same kind of matches he might have had in 2000, 2001 WWF. And it's not working anymore with his current age and level of athleticism. And Adam Cole, I'm glad that he's healthy enough to compete in the ring. I always think that everything Adam Cole does looks good, except for the fact that he looks so scrawny, and there's no getting around that. I don't think these two have much chemistry together. I don't think there's that much heat on this. I think the fact that Britt Baker was just up and on TV the following week after this big attack that sort of sparked this issue between Cole and Jericho took away the heat that should have been on this match, and it also took away the impact of Britt coming out and taking out Saraya. If we hadn't seen Britt since she was taken down by Saraya and the JAS on Dynamite several weeks ago, and then she showed up here at the pay-per-view to take out Saraya, that might have been something. But that didn't happen because Britt Baker was just casually on TV involved in other issues while Adam Cole continued getting vengeance on her behalf against Jericho and Co. Yeah, so anyway, I'm giving the match a D+. It was stupid. The booking of it was dumb, but the match itself was pretty terrible as well.
Yeah, another point I wanted to make, because like, as when you said that didn't have much chemistry, I kind of felt like that too. But here's the thing. I've said it before, like back in the day when people had pay-per-view matches, they'd already touched fucking 25 times on the live events and house shows. So when they finally got to the pay-per-view match, they had the match down pat, or they had at least built a little bit of chemistry and had a chance to get to know how each other works. So when you just kind of it takes a special kind of person to work with someone the very first time, like Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle at WrestleMania, for it to be amazing immediately. But they're two very different performers in comparison to Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. And Jericho being of the age he is now and the athleticism he has now, you know, perhaps he and Adam Cole needed to have 10 matches on live events prior to this to at least have some sort of fucking click, you know, something click for this matchup. Anyway, let's go forward, bro. Let's get to something that I was actually excited for, and I think you would have been too. AEW World Tag Team Championships, FTR, the champions, defending against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, with Satnam Singh, Sanjay Dutt, and Karen Jarrett at ringside. It went 20 minutes flat. Jooseyboy, what did you think?
Okay. I unfortunately did not like this one as much as I was hoping to. However, I did enjoy it because of the people involved. This felt more like an actual wrestling match. It felt like a pay-per-view tag team title match featuring a little extra gaga, just like we've seen on many pay-per-views from wrestling promotions across the ages over the years. So I felt like it was fitting on this show. I felt like even though I haven't enjoyed what they've been doing to build this match on TV, at least they have been building an issue and they're trying to pay it off here. I've got to give credit to that. Jarrett and Jay Lethal actually have really good chemistry together as a team. Ironically enough, I think the fact that they teamed together as Ric Flair's final opponents and then began teaming together in AEW, that was actually a good move by Tony Khan, because now they sort of have this history as a team, because they were also, like Jay Lethal was also involved in Ricky Steamboat's final match, as was FTR. So all of this kind of ties in nicely, I think. And that contributed to my investment in the match. And before anyone out there tells me, oh, but that doesn't count because it wasn't on AEW. Well, how many times do AEW fans tell us about all this other shit that should suddenly matter when you watch AEW? Anyway, the booking of this match was a little all over the shop, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I wish that it had been a bit more of a straight wrestling match for a bit more of the 20 minutes. And I just would have had Satnam and Sanjay taken out of the entire equation, honestly. And I would have just had Karen at ringside on their side. But I'm gonna go ahead and give the match a C-. I thought it was pretty good, but I also didn't quite think that it hit that gear that FTR matches normally hit.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention Mark Briscoe was the referee for this one. So I was excited for this because I'm like, now we get some real shit, some actual wrestling. Mark Briscoe cares more about tags than the AEW referees. And he's refereeing for the first time. He cares more about it than them. Fuck. They got him over as ref with things like noticing Jeff Jarrett with the chair and, just laying down the law. I popped for JR calling Karen Jarrett a Jezebel. That's such a throwback. Loving Jarrett with the Fargo strut. I was thinking, man, let's hot potato this. Come on. Let's have FTR chase it again. I think Jarrett and Lethal deserve the belts, man. Like they nearly won it when the Acclaimed, and I just think that they've earned it. And it's fine. We can have FTR be 3-time tag team champions. But yeah, look, there's a difference between some of these guys and some of the new guys. And Jeff Jarrett, you can tell this guy knows how to work a crowd. And nothing against the other guys. I love FTR. I think they showed why they were the best tag team in wrestling today. In this matchup, this match did feel like high stakes to me. I really like Dax's comeback. I did like Mark Briscoe getting that cum shot referee moment of ejecting Satnam and Sanjay, who was really making me laugh. The stupid pencil behind his ear. Favorite part of the whole show. Here comes Aubrey Edwards after Mark Briscoe gets bumped. And she gets fucking laid out with a fucking guitar by Karen Jarrett. And bro, I rewound it and watched it 3 times in a row. Loved it. Oh, there was a double lethal injection. I thought this was the best match so far. Karen getting hate, man. I don't care. She's great at what she does. FTR did win the match, of course, but I really wanted the heels to go over. But that's again 3 matches, 3 baby faces winning, and Jarrett got laid out. And I just think Tony Khan sometimes is scared of heat. So there's a heap of shit in the back that I didn't really care about. Saraya and Jericho were mad about what happened in his match with Adam Cole. And then some random guy gets a fireball to the face. What? Why?
I didn't even watch.
Dude, Jericho threw a fireball in the face of some backstage guy. Why? Stupid. Anyway, let's move forward, bro. Excuse me a second. Sorry, everyone. I had to cough. Let's move forward. TNT Championship. Ladder match. Wardlow defending against Christian Cage. This went 17 minutes and 10 seconds. I'm telling you what, Juicy Boy, This feels very thrown together. What happened to Powerhouse Hobbs? What happened? He was a champ. A month later, after Wardlow was off TV for a month, Wardlow returns, beats Hobbs. Where's Hobbs? What is going on with the booking, Tony? Where's Hobbs? What did he do wrong? It's obvious Wardlow's winning. Christian Cage is not beating Wardlow in a ladder match here for the TNT title. And it's a ladder match and Wardlow cares about tables. And Excalibur was trying to it's just like, no, nice try, Excalibur, okay? But we should be trying to climb a ladder here. But look, I'm not going to give too much flack for this one because I actually did enjoy it. I did like the tease for Wardlow going off the top rope to the outside through a table. I loved the fact that Christian dipped out again on the ladder from the apron to the barricade. Looked like Wardlow was going to do another specky thing, but again, Christian pulled it away from the fans. He gets psychology. He knows how to fuck with the fans. Very good. This is what Wardlow needs. He needs to work with somebody like says Fresh Jay Russo. But this is why AEW burn out their fans, bro. 4 pay-per-views a year. Every match has a stipulation. It's just too much, man. It's like they're doing it to cover up for the fact that things aren't very well booked. So if you pile all this specky shit on top of it, then it seems really much more prestigious. But eventually you're going to burn everything out. So let's hurry up and get through this. Luchasaurus chokeslams Wardlow twice. Arn bites Luchasaurus, who's bleeding from the thumb. So that's great stuff. Wardlow ends up hitting that huge swanton off the top of the ladder. But how long until it will be forgotten, dude? Because how many ladder matches have AEW put on already this year, including Ring of Honor? It's a dime a dozen at this point. But yeah, finish. Wardlow wins the match. Okay, there we go. It was good. I liked the tit for tat between the two. What did you think, Juicy?
Yeah, it's gonna get a C+ from me. I think that it's another example of Christian just taking whatever he is given and just spinning gold from it. And just, I agree with you that, it's good for Wardlow to work with a talent like Christian. I mean, I was watching this and I was thinking, geez, if only this match was taking place in WWE, because Wardlow has the potential to really be a star. And he's obviously willing to learn and take direction from veteran wrestlers. And that's why this match was probably my favorite one of the show up to this point in it. So I thought that this was a good effort. I'm not sure. I was already beginning to feel a bit of a burnout on stipulations and stuff by this point. And I haven't even been watching a lot of the AEW/Ring of Honor products. So, that burnout was definitely an element, but you put that aside, this was a good effort by these two.
Very cool, bro. Okay, let's move forward. AEW Women's World Championship. Jamie Hayter defending against Toni Storm in a match went 3 minutes and 5 seconds. From what I gather, Jamie Hayter's actually injured, so they had to get the belt off her or something like that. So a lot of my notes here, Juicy Boy. Without that knowledge. But what did you think of the women's title match?
Yeah, I thought this was okay for what it was. I'd heard of Jamie Hayter's injury. I think Toni Storm winning it is actually, not a bad thing. I think she's a tremendous talent. I like that she lays it in when she does stuff. She gets quite physical. And I enjoyed seeing that in this match. And I'd probably give this a C-. I thought that it served its purpose.
Yeah, a lot of my notes don't make any sense now because I didn't realize that she was actually injured. But 2 things that kind of annoyed me though was she's getting fucking rolled by the outcasts at the outset. Why isn't Britt with Jamie during her entrance to keep her? She ends up running out way too late, but why isn't she out there with her to back her up when? Anyway, that annoyed me. And then another thing, Jamie got spray paint sprayed into her eyes, and then she got nailed, and it was a 2 count. Whereas 2 days ago, Chris Sabin lost to this a spray paint to the eyes at Impact Wrestling with Trey Miguel. So I don't know. It's a stupid thing to be annoyed by, but come on. So Hikaru Shida ran in as well. I just thought it was a little overbooked for what was going on here. But again, I did not know that there was a fucking injury. So Toni Storm wins the championship. That's cool. Good for her. Does that make it the first 2-time women's champion?
Yeah.
I don't know. All right.
I'm pretty sure.
Making us Aussies proud, love. Anyway, let's move forward, bro. Okay. AEW Trios Championships. Like, okay. This is how little I care about this championship, Juicy Boy. When I saw the House of Black were coming out, I was like, oh, God, I forgot they had these fucking belts. So here we go. House of Black, the champions defending against, well, it's an open challenge because they haven't got an angle going on right now, it seems.
Because there's no fucking teams.
No.
The titles were made to give them to the elite.
I knew this would happen. I knew it. I knew that they wouldn't have enough teams for the trios titles. Anyway, so the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn accept. Match goes 15 minutes, 30 seconds. I don't know if I already said that, but so like we know who's winning this one because it's an open challenge. As soon as the Acclaimed and Billy came out, I'm like, well, they're not winning.
FGC.
Bro, again, we say this every AEW review. Malachi was so hot during the Cody angle. Now look at him. He's just in a trio team. These belts are a mistake, man. I don't think the crowd even really cared too much.
No.
So anyway, the stupid chant took place. Julia Hart is hot. It's funny how bigger Billy Gunn is than everyone. In the Attitude Era, he seemed quite, mid-sized almost. I did laugh at Taz saying that Brody King is like a bathtub falling on you. But look, I don't think this match should have been here. I think this match should have been where the Jericho Adam Cole match was. It's not fair on the trios title match here that they're after all this fucking crazy shit and a title change and all that shit. Anyway, let's hurry up and get through this. Bryce Remsburg again doesn't give a fuck about tags. Trios tag titles. So I really dug Billy's comeback here, hitting the Fameasser and all of his other maneuvers on the House of Black, but then he gets clocked with the kick, and it's a good win. But this was a TV match, not a pay-per-view match. Juicy Boy, what did you think of the trios title match?
C-. I echo your sentiments about it being more of a TV match than a pay-per-view match. It was serviceable, but it wasn't really all that great. The standouts for me, Malachi Black and Billy Gunn. I think Billy Gunn was tremendous. A highlighted spot for me was Brody King doing that huge crossbody to Billy Gunn, who was sat up against the guardrail. That was a hard-hitting, nice spot there. But beyond that, the match wasn't really all that special, and I kind of found myself just being meh, but loved Max Caster's rap at the beginning. I thought that was good, and I think in general that the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn as a trio, probably they deserve it. I'd be more interested in these trio titles if they were on them, to be honest with you. That would interest me more.
Fair enough, bro. Let's move forward, Juicy Boy. AEW TBS Championship. Jade Cargill defending against Taya Valkyrie in a match that went 8 minutes, 50 seconds. Juicy Boy, your thoughts?
I thought the actual match against Taya Valkyrie, because I assume we're going to talk about everything that happened afterwards. The actual match against Taya Valkyrie was okay. Again, like another C-, just really looked more like a match that you'd see on Dynamite than anything else. I think the concept of her actually successfully defending the streak only to then just dump this surprise opponent on her, who then kind of just gets the upset win. It was an overload for me. I think that it was accidentally spoiled for me on Facebook that Jade finally lost.
Yeah.
So when I went into this, I was expecting that they were going to give it to Taya and it was going to be, nice for her. I did not really care for what they did afterwards. I can't even remember who it was that ran out. Honestly, that's
Chris Statlander. Sorry,
yeah. I do like Chris Statlander. I think that she's good, but I think that this should have just been like, if anything, if you wanted to do this, it would have been better to get some heat on Jade before you did it, by having her take out Taya before the match, because all they've done is, yes, she's been this dominant, undefeated, like alpha female, and she's a heel and all that stuff. But she won this match against Taya Valkyrie fair and square. And then for no reason, arbitrarily, Chris Statlander just comes back and she's having a title shot. And she ends up winning. And now she's beaten the streak. But she didn't really, because she didn't fucking actually come out there and wrestle Jade Cargill in a one-on-one match that went for any length of time, and Jade Cargill wasn't 100%, and she just come off of a very physical match against a very game competitor who she beat.
Yeah.
It made no sense. It was stupid.
You know why it didn't make sense, bro? Because it's lazy beginners booking. The little beginner booker, Toni, he's been doing it for a few years now, but still, this is the laziest after all this time. 60 wins, 0 losses. She's beaten the whole roster except for Britt Baker. She's beaten everyone to the point where she started to repeat title defenses against people she'd already beaten. All this time, she's only wrestled 63 times in her career. Imagine if she'd wrestled 126 matches by now, how much she would have improved. But look, I'm not anti-Jade. I'm in her corner. I think she's got a great look, and I think she's talented. But after all this time, you mean to tell me she beats someone like Taya Valkyrie, who's won championships in so many companies now? She's got a name for herself. This is like the first big proper names that Jade Cargill's beaten, right? You mean to tell me that she beats her and she's going to throw out a challenge, an open challenge she's not done yet? Why the fuck would she do that? After beating someone who's formidable like Taya Valkyrie. It's lazy. It's a lazy way of getting the belt on Statlander and getting Taya Valkyrie on the show.
And it makes Jade Cargill look stupid as well. It goes against everything. It goes against everything she previously was saying about herself, in that people were lucky to be getting a chance to face her and all that because she was the champion. It was stupid. I could go on about it like we need to keep moving, but yeah, it was so dumb.
I would rather they held the belt on, kept it on Jade till the next pay-per-view, and then Statlander beats her for it. I'm sure there'll be a rematch. Oh, it's the beginning of the story. No, shut up. All right, shut up. I don't want to hear any more bullshit about this. She beat her in 48 seconds. So clearly Jade wasn't ready to fucking have another match. So she does look stupid. And Chris Statlander doesn't really look like she fucking earned her victory because she just beat someone who already had a match. So there we have it. So fuck you. All that time, spent all that time, and she loses the belt.
It's so stupid.
After having
so stupid.
Anyway, speaking of stupid, let's continue on with Double or Nothing. So the following contest coming up next, AEW World Championship, not the main event though. The 4 pillars, Juicy Boy, the 4 pillars of the company, the pillars that the company is built on. They can't even get the main event. They can't even get last match. MJF defending against Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara in a match that went 27 minutes and 50 seconds. I'm going to try and be really quick here, bro. I don't care that Sammy and Taya are having a baby. Considering like, he is a little effeminate. I think they're going to have a girl. And so it'll be a girl who will grow up one day to have a really hot ass, but it's going to be a fuckhead as well. So that's what happens when you mix those two together, Juicy Boy. I was hopeful that MJF would hold them back from their bullshit in this match. Darby gets it. I think Darby gets it. But the other two, I'm still not sold on Sammy and Jungle Boy getting it yet. Quick sidebar, somebody was interviewing Anna J in England, I believe, and Jungle Boy was sitting next to her, Jooseyboy, and she brought up a story in front of a crowd of people. She brought up a story about getting advice from Dr. Tom Pritchard. I don't know if you've seen this. When she said advice from Dr. Tom Pritchard, Jack Perry pulled a face like that. Like, oh, okay, he's one of those little cunts that doesn't want to take advice from the veterans. I knew it. I fucking knew it. Don't you fucking pull your face over the name of Dr. Tom Pritchard. He's created many more stars bigger than you, motherfucker. So I like that they all went after MJF at the beginning. But then we got all that three-way, typical spotty bullshit. Loved Jungle Boy getting cut off from his dive from MJF. Very good. That reminded me of the feeling I got when Commander was eliminated by Jay White. Very nice. Yeah, I was bored of the dives, bro. Bored of the dives. I've already seen enough dives. Yeah. So, Sammy Guevara does a shooting star press to the outside. Okay, get the bullshit out of your system, boys. Let's get into it. You're supposed to be trying to win a world championship here, not show off your fandom of Cirque du Soleil. I was so confused that they said there was 57 minutes remaining in the show, and then I remembered that the Anarchy in the arena match hadn't happened yet. And I'm like, what the fuck? Okay. So anyway, there's 3 destroyers, one after another. Oh, dude, I just can't fucking be bothered with this. Yeah. So anyway, MJF it's a powerbomb for the top rope on Darby, I think. I like that Darby went for that headlock to it's a throwback to
the headlock takeover. Yeah,
that's cool. They, at least they paid homage to some previous story. And yeah, the finish was really cool. And we knew MJF was going to retain, but I just thought, I don't know if I really enjoyed that or not. Yeah. What did you think, bro?
Right. I'm giving this match a B-. Probably a lot of AEW fans are going to think that is too low. There'll be a lot of other fans, especially AEW detractors, that may think that rating's too high. I didn't care for the dives and stuff like that, but you knew they were going to be a part of it, and they're in keeping with the expectations of their target audience, the type of fan that is into their product. That's what their fans want to see, so they're going to do it. I do think that everyone had an opportunity to shine here, which I really liked. I liked the fact that they kept the match constantly moving in terms of like, okay, let's rotate somebody else in now. Let's do something that involves all 3 of us. Let's do something that involves only the 2 of these guys. And they kept it going, and enough that it was interesting me. I agree with you that it sort of felt like MJF and Darby Allin, as the 2 most experienced out of the 4 pillars, working wise, were sort of spearheading the whole thing, because you could tell that with MJF in the match, that was what was driving a lot of the psychological elements of it. Do I think that it's one of the greatest matches of all time? No. Who do I think the weakest of the 4 pillars is? Jungle Boy, by far. He clearly, when I was watching this, I was like, man, MJF has really come a long way. He's matured even more as a talent. Darby Allin is really coming a long way as a talent. Like he's definitely a huge name for AEW. Sammy Guevara, it's like, okay, I can see he's starting to mature a bit. There's a smoothness to his work in this match that I wasn't necessarily seeing last year, so I can see that that's happening. And Jungle Boy, same kind of like high-flying moves that are sloppy, same kind of miserable bitch face on his like facial expression, no matter what he's doing. Busted open again, fucking same loincloth attire, and it just feels so samey, It just feels like he hasn't quite kept on the level of the other three pillars out of the four. The way the rest of them had, that became apparent to me in this match. Not that Jungle Boy did bad. I thought that he actually had a pretty good performance as well. But if I had to pick a weakest link, he's definitely it. I definitely think that this match should have been on last. I think it was a disservice to all four of these young men that it wasn't on last, because even though they don't always wrestle the style that I personally like, they are four of the cornerstone talents of the company, and they're all young, and they're all in the prime of they're about to enter the prime of their lives, and hopefully they're about to mature into the prime of their careers. And I do think it's disrespectful that this Anarchy in the Arena crap that we're about to get into went on after this title match, which was essentially a dream match for a lot of AEW diehards. Like, think about that. That's the four foundational talents of this company competing for the world championship. And it didn't even get to go on last at one of their only 4 pay-per-views of the year.
Just unbelievable, bro. Anyway, let's get to the main event here. Blackpool Combat Club. Moxley, Castagnoli, Danielson, and Yuta against the Elite. Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks. 27 minutes long. I was already done by this point, bro. Give me your astute thoughts.
This match is getting an F. Okay? That's the first thing. This match is getting an F. Wheeler Yuta getting the pin was a disgrace.
Why?
Hang on. Just let me, because I've got some things that should be said here.
Excuse me.
This was a step down for Bryan Danielson in his career. When I was watching him gallivant around the arena with the other people involved, I was thinking for both him and Claudio Castagnoli, this is just embarrassing. They deserve to be doing something better than this, and I don't know why they're willingly taking part in it, or how much of the decision making they were involved in. John Moxley had absolutely no star power. They kept Wild Thing running for entirely too long.
Yeah.
It wasn't cool the very first time they did it, and it's definitely not cool that they're still doing it 2.5 years later. And it went on for entirely too long. And but even when the music stopped, the torment didn't. There were a few things in this match that were interesting to look at, notably the big swing taking place backstage near the concession stand that we saw in a split screen, because they also kept on trying to cut to different things, which, by the way, the camera work in this was absolutely fucking atrocious, and it gave me a headache. Like, I was wearing my glasses, but it still gave me a headache, like, because it just kept the camera couldn't decide what it wanted to focus on. There was too much stuff going on because they didn't have a fucking agent in the truck that was coordinating with their head of production and stuff like that. I'm not going to talk too much about the specifics of this match. I thought that this was garbage. This felt like something that, I would expect to see on an independent show, or like it boggles my mind. Like, it honestly boggles my mind that, thank God JR didn't have to sit out there and actually like commentate this match.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure he would have buried it. Like, I'm sure he would have gone into business for himself and commented on the absurdity of it.
Yeah. Because wasn't the last Anarchy in the Arena the Jericho Appreciation Society against the Blackpool Combat Club? See, that was I didn't like that. So I knew I wasn't going to like this. It's just, there's too much going on. And you're right. I was getting a headache too with all the constant camera changes. And it's just too much, And I think there was just a little bit too much of this type of thing on the show. We had a ladder match. We had a non-sanctioned match. So, I don't know. I don't really want to go through all my notes because I just can't be fucking bothered, to be honest with you, bro. The music thing was annoying, but I did like that he got fucking knocked out. What the fuck is Matt Jackson hitting a super kick with fucking sparklers? Fuck off, man.
The exploding super kick.
It was like, oh, that was so cool. Like, no, it's fucking moronic. You're an idiot.
It was dumb. It was literally an example of everything people are saying to you about why AEW is stupid. Don't insult people by saying you think that it was cool. You dumb fucking dipshits. This was an embarrassment. This was a fucking embarrassment. That's it.
There's a few other things that annoy me, bro. Wheeler Yuta kicked out of a buckshot lariat. Moxley hit his finish on Matt Jackson and he kicked out. Why do the Young Bucks kick out of everything?
They're a tag team.
They need to be killed to lose, and they can't even fucking cop a pinfall loss without. The last time I saw one of them cop a pinfall loss, Jungle Boy caved one of their heads in on the entranceway with a steel chair. That's the only way that they can lose. Oh, and he was up walking around later on in the show as well. So, but I just felt like none of this means anything. Don is getting involved. Then Takeshita. I know that there's a pre-existing thing with him and Don. He costs Kenny. Does anyone really care about that? That's your hot angle to go off the big pay-per-view of the year. Takeshita.
When he pulled the thing out, when he pulled the mask off, and it dawned on me in a few microseconds that it was Takeshita. And I don't dislike Takeshita. But when he took that mask off, because I almost forgot about that until you just said it. So I'm going to quickly sidebar and just throw a few thoughts in quickly.
Yeah, mate, yeah.
Like, that cemented to me in my mind that Tony Khan is not interested in booking a good wrestling product. He's fantasy booking with a real life wrestling company.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. I don't think he cares what people really think that are from the wrestling business, or if he does, he cares definitely a lot more about the ones that happen to agree with him. I think that choosing to make Takeshita the one that came in and unmasked is a huge slap in the face, because you know that 70% of the audience watching the pay-per-view were going to be going, who the fuck is that? Or what the fuck? Even if they knew who it was, they're going, what does he have to do with this? And then beyond that, you see a guy in a mask run in, you think it's somebody cool or somebody new or somebody that's maybe familiar, but that you didn't expect to be getting involved in this.
I know
and
that
it was none of those things.
I know that they're not going to go there, which is the biggest fucking mistake that this company can do. But the fact that it wasn't CM Punk coming out to cost Kenny and the fucking Bucks this match, the fact that they're not going there is fucking bullshit. It's bullshit. You can't fucking run your company. You can't be a boss, Tony. You should fucking put these little fucks in their place and make them fucking work together and be fucking professionals. Make some fucking money out of that angle. No one cares about Takeshita versus Kenny Omega. People care about Punk versus Omega. That's what they want to see. They want to see that thing brought to life on TV. Microphone war. Let's see how fucking how much of a hard time Kenny has battling Punk on the mic. Let's see how they work in the ring.
Yeah. I'd watch it. Omega. We'd watch that episode.
I'd be fucking pumped. I would want to see what's going to happen. And you've got something right there that people want to see. You know, everyone would tune in to see what's going to happen. As long as you fucking let Punk and all that, let him come up with, I guess, the ideas, because I don't think Tony fucking knows fucking shit about, you know, giving people the correct dot points for promos and all that. I think the people that cut the best promos are the ones that essentially have always been very good at that. But the fact it wasn't him, I just don't think it, because then I'm reading online that Kenny was after the match, he was hinting at two people not on the roster are gonna maybe come in and back him and and the Elite up. And I'm like, no one wants to see Kota Ibushi, mate. Like, if Tony's letting him do these things and bring like these people in from his past, from fucking Japanese wrestling, it doesn't do anything to grow the audience. Yeah. No one fucking knows who he is.
No one cares
about the Golden Lovers, mate.
Most people didn't know who the fuck he was before AEW existed, and they need to get their head around that.
Yeah. So that's it. You know?
Yeah.
That's it. I hate that I'm like this, bro. I hate that I went all weekend. I enjoyed Impact Wrestling. I think I gave that a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed XPW. I believe I gave that a 9 out of 10, which I'm sure a lot of people scoff at, but I don't care. I gave WWE like a fucking 8 out of 10, and I gave NXT an 8.5 out of 10, the best NXT show I've ever seen, I think. So we're getting to our final rating here out of 10. What say you, Juicy Boy?
Yeah, I'm going to give AEW Double or Nothing 2023 a 3.5 out of 10. It was an absolutely dreadful show. It was worse than I already imagined it would be going into it, and I already had negative expectations for the show, and it was worse than what I thought. Like, I wasn't even pleasantly surprised, really, by anything on it. Instead of being excited when I would see what match was coming up, I groaned.
Yeah.
Pretty much for every match. Whereas I should have been going, oh, these guys are having a match. Awesome. I'm excited. This was a terrible show, and what happened to the company AEW was turning into when we were giving 9 out of 10 ratings for All Out.
I just think what's happened is he's taken on too much, and what ends up happening when you take on too much, you end up getting burned out. You end up having too many people around you, fucking this and that. He's hired too many people. He's just overwhelmed with the amount of fucking people. He can't match that amount of fucking creativity that needs to come out for all of these fucking things that are going on. So he might have had that little lightning in a bottle moment at that All Out pay-per-view that we gave 9 out of 10 a couple of years ago, whatever it was. You know, he might have got that then, but very soon after that was when he probably got a little bit too cocky because of the adulation and all the great feedback that he got. And I think he's taken on too much. And when you're burned out, you start making mistakes. And when you're like convinced that you're really good at what you do because of Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez and
the tunnel vision on, man.
Yeah. When you believe that you're really good, then you refuse to believe that any criticism is correct. No. Those Twitter accounts that are giving me criticism, they're just bots. They're just bots. We did the research. They're bots. Like he has to convince himself, because again, if he realizes he can't do this, the one thing he always wanted to do when his father's a self-made billionaire, his whole world will come crashing down, because he will then know, wow, after all this time, I really was never able to really build something for myself. I just used my dad's money to fuck around for a little bit and fulfill a dream that I had when I was a kid, despite the fact that I really don't have what it takes. He's never going to be able to admit that to himself, because again, his world will come crashing down, Juicy Boy. I'm giving this show a 5 out of 10.
Ooh. But the other thing is as well, it's possible for him to book a good show. We've seen that. It's just he's taking too much from the bad idea jar and not enough from the good idea jar, and listening to the wrong people. Anyway, I don't think I want to even talk about this show anymore, but it was bad. It was a bad show.
Yeah, and as you were saying before, and I'll wrap it up really soon, but out of all the matches, honestly, I think I was only excited for the ladder match, and I suppose a little bit with Jamie Hayter and Toni Storm, but then I was really disappointed. That and the FTR Jarrett lethal match, but again, too many interferences. I think almost every match except for the trios match had an interference somewhere. Anyway, doesn't fucking matter, bro. I'll give it a 5 because of Wardlow, Christian, Jarrett, Karen Jarrett hitting Aubrey with a guitar, and Sabu going off the top rope to the outside. Good on you, you old bastard. Jooseyboy, thank you so much for your time here.
No fucking worries.
Putting yourself through what we've both put ourselves through. Just sorry, bro. Sorry. Everyone out there, thank you so much for joining us. Please check out our shirts on ProWrestlingTees.com under our store Thunder Mifflin. Also, you can find our Patreon. It should be in the description there. We've got a Patreon now, $3 a month, and you'll get exclusive content on there that will not be featured on our YouTube channel for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff that's too hot to be monetized on YouTube. It's
too hot.
A lot of sexy stuff. It's too hot for TV.
$3 a month, though, bro. I mean, that's how much is that a day? That's like what? 3 cents a day, 30 cents a day. I don't know. Not 30 cents.
I don't fucking know.
Okay, my maths is terrible. Jooseyboy, thank you again for your time.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
And thank all of you out there for your time. We will see you down the road. Thank you.
Network, that's the way we play. Good God Almighty. Network, that's the way we play. Get puppies. Network, that's the way we play. Get.
The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.